Apparently this guy right here, the one with the funny hat, also known as the Pope, is the last absolute monarch in Europe. He can grant and revoke citizenship at will. He can call his citizens whatever he chooses. This old man has achieved what his absolute monarch rivals could not. Total power. How did he do it? Well, I called him to find out.
Oh, hey, bud.
Hello, is this the Pope?
I like to think so.
Good to meet you, Pope. I've got a couple of questions for you. Number one, how did you become king and how did you get all your extraordinary powers?
Well, you see, the Emperor of the Universe was born in a manger and, he had a couple of apostles and, I'm just sort of the next one in line waiting for the Emperor's return.
Mr. Pope, your people, your citizens, they want freedom, they want liberty. When are you going to give up your powers?
I'll think about it.
Okay, moving on to the next question. Is it true that the Pope is Catholic?
Is this on the record?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I am.
Okay, good. So if I give you $20, can you get me into heaven?
Well, yeah, it's kind of my thing.
I don't actually have $20, but how about...
You can work something out. What are you wearing?
I had to do things the old-fashioned way, womanizing and researching the history. So without further ado, the story begins in the 30s AD, where some dude was crucified by the Romans in Jerusalem. According to the victim's best friends, he was God in human form, and he was also resurrected back to life after death. His name was Jesus, and his mission to his best friend was to abandon their families and former lives to spread and preach his message around the whole world. His main BFF, Peter, was given special authority as the rock upon which the church would be built. Next, a bunch of stuff happened. Peter ended up in Rome. According to church fathers writing centuries later, it was Peter who established the church in Rome and became the first bishop of Rome. His successors therefore carried, the authority given to Peter by Jesus, aka God. The key point is that the bishops in Rome, later known as the popes, superior to all the other bishops in Christianity because of Peter. And some more stuff happened. A bunch of Christians were killed. Churches more or less existed in hiding in people's houses in the shadows until Constantine the Great decided to legalize Christianity in the Roman Empire. Pretty much at this time the popes were homeless, so Constantine gave them the Lateran Palace, maybe because he felt sorry for them, maybe because he didn't know what else to do with them. So a few centuries later, the Roman Empire had fallen in the West. Popes had lost their benefactor, their protector, their sugar daddy, if you will. The emperor in the East gave nominal security. It was more like a long-distance relationship, and the papacy wanted more. At the time, Italy was faced with a Lombard threat from the north, so Pope Stephen II was refused help by the Eastern Emperor, so he turned to the barbarian king of the Franks, Pepin. In return for Pepin's military protection, the Pope would crown Pepin as king, which not only legitimized his rule of the Franks, but also gave the whole realm a really good reason to party. So in a show of gratitude, or maybe piety, or perhaps for services rendered, Pepin gave the Pope large swaths. Pepin gave the Pope a large amount of territory in central Italy. It was this donation of Pepin that created the Papal States. For the first time, the Pope had sovereign territory of his very own. Some more stuff happened in the Middle Ages, like church schisms, bickering over who gets to appoint bishops, church reforms, the list goes on. And through it all, the popes worked very hard to increase their power within the Papal States, and indeed throughout Europe. A key bone of contention seems to be the actual position of the Pope and the Roman Church within Christianity. The Pope and Roman Catholics thought that he should be in charge because of Peter. Other Christians disagreed, and by extension they also disagreed with the litany of Catholic traditions, ceremonies, symbols, images. They were all under the microscope. Fast forward through the Middle Ages and the popes entered the modern era as a shadow of their former selves. They were king of the hill in the Middle Ages. Going into the modern era, they were maybe 2/3 of the way up the hill. Most modern states treated the papal states like an ex-boyfriend, waved to him walking down the street, but don't talk to me. That sums it up. Nevertheless, the absolute rule of the Pope within the papal states remained strong. They even went so far as proclaiming papal infallibility, as in the Pope cannot be wrong. Classic authoritarian move. The new Eden that was the papal territories came to an end in 1870, when the nascent kingdom of Italy forcefully occupied Rome. Needless to say, the Pope did not like this, and like a pouting teenager, he locked himself in his room. Effectively, the popes were kept prisoner in Vatican City. It was the last bit of land. Let them have it. A deal was struck in 1927 that broke the deadlock. The deal was made between the papacy, the popes, and a man destined for great things, Benito Mussolini, the leader of fascist Italy. The result was the Vatican City that we know and love today. Many people have argued since that this deal has undertones of papal sympathy towards fascist ideology. I don't share that view. I think what happened was the Pope saw their chance to make a power grab, the best one they could. Perhaps they saw that they were sliding into irrelevance. Their former temporal power was all but gone. Speculation, but maybe Vatican City is just the first step of a much larger, much grander plan, one in which the papal states, the new papal states, the NPS, controls the whole world, and the Pope is its supreme, infallible leader. And remember, even if it's not true, you have to believe in history.